gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. Tonight we'll break down Tennis Canada's bold plan to revamp the IGA Stadium at Gerry Park and hear comedian Charles Brunnett's surprise offer to cover Mayor Ferrada's traffic tickets. Later, we'll look at the paramedics' vote on the tentative deal. Over to you, Ryan.
The Canadiens have loaned forward Vinzenz Rohrer to Swiss club EV Zug for the entire upcoming season.
Vinzenz Rohrer will play for EV Zug throughout the 2026-27 season after the loan agreement with Montreal.
The loan arrangement means Rohrer remains under Canadiens' contract while gaining experience in the Swiss National League.
All right, let's get into it and start the headlines for today, covering the main local stories ahead. Here are our top stories. Tennis Canada proposes a complete renovation of Montreal's IGA Stadium at Gerry Park, citing the venue's lag behind professional tour standards and the need to modernize for future Canadian Open events. Jesse Cartier has the full story.
Plans are underway for a full overhaul of the IGA Stadium at Gerry Park, the venue that hosts the Canadian Open each summer. Tennis Canada says the facility is no longer keeping up with the rising standards of the professional tour, prompting a proposal to modernize seating, player areas, and media facilities. The organization outlined a vision that includes expanded capacity, upgraded lighting, and a refreshed court surface to meet tour expectations. Officials indicated the redesign aims to enhance the spectator experience while preserving the park's community feel. If approved, the renovation could be rolled out ahead of future editions of the tournament. Jesse Cartier, GMNA News, Gerry Park.
Comedian Charles Brunnett stepped into the spotlight yesterday after the mayor's car was seized earlier this year for an unpaid ticket. Brunnett announced he will cover the outstanding traffic fines owed by Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada, saying the gesture is meant to ease the embarrassment of the incident. The mayor's vehicle was taken by authorities in March after she failed to settle a citation, sparking jokes about city leadership and parking etiquette. Brunnett, known for his quick wit, posted a video on social media explaining that he wants to help the mayor avoid further hassle and to highlight the importance of paying fines promptly. The mayor's office thanked Brunnett for the offer, noting that the fine will be taken care of without further legal action. The story adds a light-hearted note to a week that began with a traffic-related controversy.
Yesterday, paramedics in Montreal and Laval voted down a tentative agreement the Quebec government had reached with them the month before. 60% of the union members cast ballots rejecting the offer, leaving negotiations at an impasse. The provincial health ministry said the proposal covered wage increases, staffing levels, and overtime rules, but critics argued it fell short of frontline needs. With the vote, the government has no longer a framework to implement changes before the next collective bargaining round, and both the Montreal and Laval emergency services are preparing contingency plans to avoid disruptions. Health officials warned that any delay could affect response times across the island, while union leaders pledged to resume talks and press for a new deal that meets their members' demands. The decision also puts pressure on the upcoming provincial budget discussions, as officials weigh funding for emergency services.
Quebec farmers are seeing strong summer earnings as bumper vegetable yields offset low sweet corn prices, with surplus corn driving consumer costs down while overall farm income remains robust. Jesse Cartier has the full story.
Farmers across Quebec are pulling in record sweet corn harvests this summer, producing more than stores can move and pushing retail prices down. Even as corn margins tighten, overall farm earnings stay solid because bumper yields of tomatoes, carrots, and other vegetables are offsetting the lower corn revenue. After a sluggish start to the growing season, the province's fields have turned green, delivering abundant vegetable crops province-wide. The excess corn supply is flooding the market, while the surge in other produce keeps farm income buoyant. Producers say the mix of high yields and diversified crops is cushioning the impact of cheap corn on their bottom line. Overall, the season is shaping up as one of the most productive in recent memory for Quebec growers. Jose Cartier, GMNA News, Montreal.
Yesterday, the Morissette Group kicked off a 16-day shoreline cleanup along the St. Lawrence River. Volunteers will work each day to pull debris and plastic from the banks, aiming to protect whales, turtles, and other wildlife that have suffered from increasing pollution. Experts note that microplastics in the river can be ingested by migrating whales and sea turtles, compounding the threat. Organizers say the effort targets hotspots where waste accumulates, and they hope the cleared stretch will set a benchmark for future community actions. The initiative follows recent reports linking river contamination to declining marine health, prompting local groups to step up. City officials welcomed the project, noting that cleaner shorelines can improve water quality and support tourism. Organizers have supplied tools and safety gear at designated sites. The cleanup runs through the end of August, offering a tangible way to safeguard the river's ecosystem. Later, we'll check on the nighttime gunfire reports from Rivière des Prairies and St. Mitchell, plus more headlines. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Police confirmed that gunfire erupted after dark on Saturday in the Rivière des Prairies and St. Mitchell neighborhoods. Officers from the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal responded to multiple reports of shots fired, but no suspects have been taken into custody. The investigations remain open as detectives piece together witness statements and forensic evidence. Community members described a tense atmosphere as the sounds echoed through residential streets, prompting several residents to call emergency services. SBVM spokesperson said resources are being allocated to identify those responsible and to reassure neighborhoods that safety remains a priority. Patrol units have increased visibility throughout the affected districts, conducting random checks and maintaining a heightened presence through the night. No injuries have been reported, and authorities have asked anyone with further information to come forward, though they have not disclosed any leads at this stage.
U.S. firms are releasing hundreds of thousands of mosquitoes in Montreal as a biological control against invasive tiger mosquitoes that spread dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. Etienne Normandin, entomologist, explains the approach. Jose Cartier has the full story.
At a park near the Mile End, officials from 2 U.S. biotech firms have set down hundreds of thousands of sterile male mosquitoes, part of a pilot program to curb the invasive tiger mosquito. Researchers say the released insects will mate with the disease-carrying females, preventing any viable offspring. Etienne Normandin, an entomologist at the Institut de Recherche en Biologie Végétale, explained that the approach targets species that spread dengue, chikungunya, and Zika across North America. The operation began early Friday night, with teams dispersing the insects from trucks and handheld devices. Local health officials are monitoring mosquito counts closely, hoping the strategy will shrink the tiger population before the summer peak. City residents are being urged to keep standing water containers covered as an extra precaution. Jose Cartier, GMNA News, Plateau.
Municipal councillors in St. Pie voted earlier this week to designate a portion of the 57-year-old Sanair racetrack as a land reserve for a prospective high school. The resolution, passed during the council meeting held between August 5 and 8, creates a protected parcel that could host the new school if provincial approvals are secured. Advocates argue the site offers a central location to alleviate overcrowding in surrounding districts, while some residents voice concerns about preserving the historic racing venue. The Sanair track, which opened in 1969, has hosted horse racing and motor events for decades, making the proposed repurposing a notable shift in land use. The council's decision follows months of public hearings and a heated debate over the racetrack's future use. Officials emphasized that the reserve does not guarantee construction, but signals the municipality's intent to address growing educational demand in the region.
Police in Quebec have lifted a silver alert after locating an 80-year-old woman who went missing from Cowansville earlier this week. The Sûreté du Québec announced the senior was found on Saturday, August 7th, bringing the 3-day search to a close. The alert, issued because the woman has a cognitive condition that places her at heightened risk when lost, prompted a province-wide broadcast of her description and last known whereabouts. Neighbors and volunteers joined the effort, checking streets and contacting authorities as the investigation unfolded. Silver alerts are activated by the Sûreté du Québec whenever a senior with a known cognitive impairment disappears, and they trigger radio, television, and digital messages across the province. Officers confirmed she was safe and in the care of family members, ending the public notification. The successful resolution underscores the purpose of silver alerts in quickly mobilizing resources to protect vulnerable seniors.
Montreal police arrived in 2 patrol cars at the Maisonneuve Elementary schoolyard Saturday evening, removing 3 preteens playing soccer after a neighbor called. 5 officers were involved. Denise Lariviere has the full story.
Police arrived in 2 patrol cars just after 7 p.m., 5 officers stepping onto the courtyard of Maisonneuve Elementary School. The children, a trio of preteens, were passing a soccer ball across fenced yard. Officers ordered the 3 players to leave, and when they hesitated, the officers escorted them out of the schoolyard. A nearby resident, Noam Arbiayu, watched as the youths were pushed toward the street, their shoes scattering on the grass. No further explanation was offered by the police, and the game halted as the remaining children looked on. Scene remained tense as officers returned to their vehicles. They stayed in the courtyard for another 10 minutes, speaking in tones while students and teachers gathered at the school entrance, watching the exchange. Denise Lariviere, GMNA News, Hochelaga, Maisonneuve.
Now, let's see what the skies have in store for us today.
A western jet stream pushes warm, humid air into the basin, while a stagnant ridge keeps pressure locked. On this date, Montreal once baked to 34.4 degrees Celsius in 2025, a brief spike in an otherwise mild summer heat wave. The opposite extreme fell to 14.2 degrees Celsius in 2019, when an Arctic surge slammed through the St. Lawrence corridor. Normal highs hover around 27 degrees Celsius and lows near 18, so today's 28-degree peak feels modestly above average, while the nighttime low of 20 degrees remains comfortably warm. It underscores how a steady ridge now holds the temperature in check. The live radar shows a band of echoes marching eastward from the Ottawa Valley toward Greater Montreal. The cells move at 15 kilometers per hour, driven by the jet. They will brush the island around 3 p.m., intensify through 5 p.m., and peak near 7 p.m. by sunset. By 8 p.m. the echoes fade, leaving clear skies for the night. With that clearing, we turn to today's temperature outlook. At 7, Montreal sits under a thick overcast with 20 degrees Celsius on the board and humidity near 88%. A light west wind of 8 kilometers per hour drifts through, keeping the air still. The atmosphere is under a near-average pressure that is holding steady, while a powerful western jet stream races overhead at 142 kilometers per hour, steering the afternoon rain band. Temperatures will climb to 28 by midday, then dip to 20 as the rain arrives after 3 p.m. The UV index reads 5. Winds will gust up to 26 kilometers per hour from the southwest, feeling noticeable on exposed surfaces. No weather alerts are active. As the rain tapers off by 8 p.m., we look ahead to the 5-day trend. Looking at the next 5 days, a slow-moving trough will dominate the western Atlantic, bringing a mix of clouds and scattered showers. Monday offers a high of 24 and a low of 19, with about 30% chance of rain under persistent overcast. Tuesday warms to 26 with a low of 18 and remains largely overcast, giving a dry spell. Wednesday cools back to 24 and 18, and a quarter of the day may see light showers as the trough nudges closer. Thursday brings the most pronounced dip, a high of 23, low of 16, and 50% rain as the system deepens. Friday clears dramatically, delivering a high of 21, low of 14, and clear skies, a welcome break before the next pattern shift. That wraps the outlook. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic updates, tonight's Bell Center tour, and a quick look at our Canadiens contender story. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
All major routes are moving freely this morning. Autoroute 15, the Descaries Expressway, and the Ville-Marie Tunnel are clear with no reported slowdowns. Downtown arteries like Rue Sherbrooke, Boulevard St. Laurent, and Avenue du Mont-Royal show smooth flow, so commuters can expect a quick start to their day. The commuter belt around the South Shore, including the Champlain Bridge and the Trans-Canada Highway, is also free of congestion. No accidents or construction are holding up traffic at this hour. Looking ahead, the midday rush may build around the University District and the West End as schools let out, so drivers should keep an eye on Boulevard Descaries and the St. Hubert corridor after lunch. Travelers heading to the Trudeau Airport via Autoroute 24 can also anticipate a smooth ride and will keep monitoring for any late-day changes. On transit, the metro system and all bus routes are running on schedule, with no service interruptions reported. That's the traffic picture for now.
First up, the National Bank Open reaches a fever pitch with the Omnium Bank National Quarterfinal on Centre Court at IGA Stadium. Montreal's top men's tennis stars battle for a spot in the final, and the energy on the court is electric, perfect for a quick morning sport fix. Next, the city's Pride celebrations are in full swing. Montreal Pride is spreading across venues all week, with a vibrant parade and a lineup of cultural, musical, and social events that invite everyone to join the joy and solidarity. Looking ahead, the Isle Sonic Montreal Festival kicks off this weekend on the island of Jean Drapeau. 2 days of world-class electronic dance line-ups promise a weekend soundtrack you won't want to miss. Finally, for film lovers, the Canada-China Film Festival continues at venues around town, showcasing fresh Chinese cinema and lively panels, a chance to discover new stories without leaving the city. And now here's Tyler with sports.
The Habs are generating buzz this August, and for good reason. Carey Price doesn't hand out compliments lightly, so when the Canadiens legend says Montreal feels like a Stanley Cup contender, fans should take notice. Price is pointing specifically to the goaltending youth as the foundation. Meanwhile, defenseman Lane Hutson lands 6th on NHL Network's rankings of the league's top blue liners. The future is arriving fast in Montreal. The Canadiens' goaltending picture for 2026-27 is an open question, and Jacob Dobush says he's comfortable with however the roster shakes out, 2 goalies or 3. Defenseman Alexander Carrier adds that being the league's youngest team with meaningful playoff experience is a genuine advantage heading into the new season. A roster move worth tracking. The Canadiens have loaned forward Vinzenz Rohrer to EV Zug in Switzerland's National League for the full 2026-27 season. Rohrer signed his 3-year entry-level deal with Montreal in June 2025. A full season of top-level European ice time is the development path the front office is betting on.
Capitaine Sandwich on Rue St. Laurent in the Plateau just opened its second storefront, marking a milestone for the homegrown sandwich shop that first won over locals with its Quebec-inspired creations. After a thriving first year on St. Denis, the team added 15 new jobs and a fresh dining room where the aroma of smoked pork and maple spice cheese drifts onto the bustling street. The new location brings the beloved poutine banh mi and other handcrafted bites closer to families, students, and artists who call the plateau home, reinforcing the neighborhood's reputation as a culinary playground. For Montrealers, Capitaine Sandwich isn't just a lunch spot. It's a reminder that our city's flavor grows when we support local dreamers. Stay with us as we break down the verified Repentigny tornado of August 2nd and hear Jean-François Cloutier's new Parti Québécois bid.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Researchers have confirmed a tornado struck Repentigny north of Montreal on Sunday, toppling trees and damaging buildings. The event follows a severe storm that surprised local officials. Marion Catay has the full story.
On Sunday, a sudden funnel ripped through the northern suburb of Repentigny, snapping trees and tearing sections of homes and commercial structures. Meteorologists from the Provincial Research Institute examined radar data and ground damage, concluding the event met all criteria for a tornado. The team noted a clear, rotating column that touched down near the intersection of Rue de la Grande and Boulevard du Souvenir, leaving a narrow path of broken limbs and roof debris. Damage assessments show dozens of trees uprooted and several buildings with compromised walls and shattered windows. No fatalities were reported, though a handful of residents required medical attention for minor injuries. The findings will be added to the Regional Severe Weather Archive. Marion Catay, GMNA News, Repentigny.
Journalist Jean-François Cloutier of the Journal de Montreal announced he will run as the Parti Québécois candidate in the Montreal riding on the south shore of Montreal. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
Jean-François Cloutier, a veteran reporter with the Journal de Montreal, stepped onto a community center podium this afternoon to declare his intention to run for the Parti Québécois in the provincial riding of Montreal. He told a crowd of local residents that his decision comes after years covering municipal affairs, and he aims to bring a journalist's perspective to the National Assembly. The announcement follows a quiet period of speculation about potential candidates, and party officials welcomed the move, noting his familiarity with the South Shore's issues. Cloutier said his campaign will focus on language preservation, affordable housing, and sustainable transit, while urging voters to keep an eye on the upcoming nomination meeting. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunrise. Tonight's look at the river's shoreline cleanup reminded us how community action shapes our city. We appreciate your trust, and we'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter. Until then, stay safe and keep looking forward.